Sin is not very fertile in oxygen.
Basura. Yan, subsobrang kaso. Ipanganak na saan? Ha?
Hello everyone.
Nagtayo, solder, pasahan, video.
Hello everyone.
अभी करिए रखिए बड़ा अभी करिए रखो कभी अभी करिए रखा है
बॉल बंद करी ले रीचा माथा दर्द करतो गेट खोली
Namaste. 74 3 में
दौनी नहीं शुरू करना चाहिए।
बारिश होने लगा।
साढ़े 11 बजे मिले
और तो आधार तो दुनिया करी करी रख अखनी तो दौनियो होता जे जंतु अच्छे ओकरा फिर अंदर करा देते ओकरा साबुनी कोची को ना अच्छे
ये तो होने चला
ना वो नीचे ला बल्ली करी होला
बंदी करी
मीट पहला
नहीं जंतु दौनी करी होवे छे
सब
आया छे अपनी बर्बाद करना
जानकारी रखने की पालो की होने
जाल ने
जानवर से
शनिवार जाल छा करते हैं जाल दे छे यहाँ से मिलते हैं
You are constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability.
मुद्दा बस આવી પછી મોકલા દીધી તમિલનાડુ
Constitution, polity, that is. Constitutional morality, that the balance between judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality, that the balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. सबसे पहले क्या है कि it is the constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and the rule of the law, ensuring that Constitution act in the spirit of the Constitution. Constitutional morality refers to adherence to the core institutional values of liberty, equality, dignity, and rule of the law, ensuring that the institution act in the spirit of the Constitution. That is क्या है कि constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and rule of the law, ensuring that the institution act in the spirit of the Constitution, balancing judicially independence and accountability. ठीक है, constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and accountability. Constitutional morality, that is the balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality refers to adherence to the core constitutional values.
સંજીવના પગનો લટકાયેલો છે પેલો એક દીનો પગનો પ્રતિ ફોન કરી પેલે પગનો કરે ચંદ્ર તમને પગનો ફોન કરી તો તારીખ કઈ તઈ
Constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and the rule of the law, ensuring that institutions act in the spirit of the Constitution. Constitutional morality, that is balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and the rule of the law, ensuring that institutions act in the spirit of the Constitution, balancing judicial independence and accountability. In case of Nanda Bharti case in 1973, the Supreme Court protected judicial independence to the basis statutory while banning all organism to constitutional limits. That is, the Supreme Court advocates on the record associated with the 2015 NJEE case. The court struck down executive dominance in appointment to safeguard the constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality, balance between the judicial independence and the accountability. Constitutional morality refers to adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and the rule of the law, ensuring that the Constitution act in the spirit of the Constitution. Constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the constitutional morality refers to the adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, equality, dignity, and the rule of the law, ensuring that the institution act in the spirit of the constitution. Ensuring that the institution act in the spirit of the constitution. Backing in judicial independence and accountability. In the case of the Bharti case, the Supreme Court protected judicial independence to the basis of the doctrine while binding all organism to constitutional limits. In the Supreme Court advocates on record association 2015 NDA case, the court struck down executive dominance in the appointment to safeguard independence but also state transparency in the collegial system. Constitution, morality,
ओकरा से
राम राम जी। I can study with you, but I can't sing for you. Please try to understand this thing. Steps to ensure judicial accountability: code of the conduct, independent lokpal, media engagement characteristic, diverse appointment, and the discipline model. Constitution of balance between the constitution model refers to the adherence to the code. ठीक है, balancing judicial independence. Step taken to ensure judicial accountability: adoption of a charter, restatement of values of judicial life by the Supreme Court in 19 and Bangalore Principle of the Judicial Conduct in 2002. The Supreme Court Judicial accountability. The judicial accountability describes the view that judges should be held accountable for in some way of for their work. This could be public accountability, that is getting approval from voters in election, or accountability to another political body like the governor or legislature. Need of the judicial accountability: to uphold public trust, judicial appointment, conflict of the interest, conduct of the judges, opacity in the operation or transparency, judicial overreach, judicial oversight, or judicial independence. To uphold public trust: recent remark like asking a rape victim to marry a rapist, prioritizing cases of some peoples of for hearing and delaying other erode trust in the judiciary. Cases of to uphold public trust, prioritizing cases of some people, prioritizing cases of some people for hearing and delaying other erode trust in the judiciary. Judicial appointment: the collegium system. Result in judges appointment judges with virtually no role of the legislation or the executive. Conflict of interest: CGI resigned the master of role despite himself being a party in a case. Recent press conference by the four senior most judges against CGI. No, okay, कोई बात नहीं. Conduct of the judges: allegations of the corruption on the Justice V. Ramaswamy and allegation of the sexual harassment on Justice Ranjan Gogoi. This is a question on the character of the CGI. Opacity in operation: under the blanket of the judicial independence, judiciary restricts outside body involvement in the investigation of the corruption case and set up under the blanket of judicial independence, judiciary restricts outside body involvement in the investigation of the corruption cases and set up in ठीक है I will and set up in the house mechanism. ठीक है. फिर judicial overreach: activism towards citizen grievances has encroached on the line of overreach, that is the national anthem case and the highway liquor case. Judicial independence: without accountability, judicial independence can be used for the personal benefit of the judges and not for the protection of the rule of the law and the right of the citizens. Judicial independence can be used for the personal benefit of the judges and not for the protection of the rule of the law. Without accountability, personal benefit of the judges, not for the protection of the rule of the law and the right of the citizen. Judicial oversight: judiciary monitors and ensures that executive actions and the legislation adhere to constitutional principles and protect them. Judicial oversight: that is the judiciary monitors and ensure that executive action and legislation adhere to constitutional principles and protect individual rights. ठीक है. स्टेप 2 सिक्योर जुडिशियल अकाउंटेबिलिटी: सबसे पहले कैरेक्टरिस्टिक सही रहना चाहिए, मीडिया का इंगेजमेंट रहना चाहिए, डाइवर्स अपॉइंटमेंट होना चाहिए, डिसिप्लिन मॉडल रहना चाहिए, कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट और इंडिपेंडेंट लोकपाल. Constitutional morality balance between the judicial independence and accountability. Constitutional morality refers to adherence to the core constitutional values of the liberty, dignity, equality, and the rule of the law, ensuring that the institution act in the spirit of the constitution, balancing judicial independence and accountability. In the case of Nanda Bharti in 1997, the Supreme Court protected judicial independence to the basic structure doctrine while binding all the constitutional organ to constitutional limit. All organs to the constitutional limit. The Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association 2015, that is NJAC case, the court struck down executive dominance in appointment to safeguard independence but also strict transparency in the collegiate system. In Manika Gandhi 1970, the court ensured fairness in procedure, fairness in the procedure, that is the due process, making judicial interpretation accountable to the constitution reasonableness. Reasonableness. Further, in the Navtej George Singh case 2018 and the Sayara Banu case 2017, the court applied constitutional morality to uphold the right over social practices, showing that the judicial independence operates with the constitutional accountability. Applied constitutional morality to uphold right over the social practices. Applied constitutional morality to uphold right to क्या करता है to uphold right over social practices, showing that judicial independence operates within court applies constitutional morality to uphold rights over social practices. The Constitution applied. The court applied constitutional morality to uphold right over social, showing that the judicial independence operates within the constitutional accountability framework. The court applied constitutional morality user code value of the light content to start down and wait on what that video tap movement what the rule that the values in the question. The ability of the judges to make fair choices without pressure from the command of the society. The duty of the judges to base their decisions on the written policy of the government intent to verify because it had women's right to practice the right with all responsibility. The code may sense that legal, stating that the decision, dignity and the freedom are same-sex relationship. Individual dignity and freedom are more important than old social ties. ठीक है कैसा समझ में आ गया? Showing that the judicial independence operates within the hello MD Feroz. Step taken to ensure judicial accountability. adoption of a character of a charter, that is restatement of values of the judicial life by Supreme Court in 1997, and the Bangalore principle of the judicial conduct in the Supreme Court SC approved live streaming of the court proceeding. Adoption of the charter, restatement of the values of the judicial life, restatement of the values of the judicial life by Supreme Court in 1997, and the Bangalore's principle of judicial conduct, and the Bangalore's principle of judicial conduct in 2002, and the Bangalore principle of judicial conduct in 2002, Bangalore principle of the judicial conduct in 2002. Draft Memorandum of Procedure 2016 include merit and integrity as prime criteria for the appointment of the merit and integrity. Permanent Secretary in Supreme Court for maintaining record of the High Court judges. Permanent Secretariat in the Supreme Court for maintaining record of the High Court judges. SC and the Subhash Chandra Agarwal case. SC and the Subhash Chandra Agarwal case. CJI declared as a public authority under the RTI Act. CJI is declared as the CGI is declared as the CGI क्या है CGI is declared as the CGI declared as the public authority under the RTI Act. Other measures: media engagement, independent Lokpal and court order for the judiciary. In the judicial independence appreciate for the constitution provision ensuring judicial independence in Article 124, that is governs Supreme Court judges appointment based on the merit ensuring independence. 214 and 215 establish High Court with independent judicial function. Article 50 mandates judiciary executive separation, upheld in the Krishnananda Bharti case. 121 and 211, that is prohibits prohibit legislative discussion on judges' conduct, legislative preserving autonomy. Prohibit legislative discussion on judges' conduct, preserving autonomy. Article 125 and 221. Judges' salary term of office cannot be adversely changed after appointment. 32 and 226, that is grant judicial review power to the Supreme Court and the High Court judges, and JEE Act struck down in 2015. फिर आर्टिकल 112 क्लॉज 3D एंड आर्टिकल 113 और 202 3D एंड 203 D3 203 आर्टिकल 112 3D एंड आर्टिकल 103 गलत सबसे पहले आर्टिकल 112 3D, फिर 113, फिर 202 3D and 203. Expenditure and the allowance of the Supreme Court judges and are charged expended on the Consolidated Fund of India and respective state. Article 146 and 229. Article 146 and 229. Chief Justice of India and Chief Justice of respective court have powers to appoint officers of the court and largely control terms of their office in the service. Further expense of the SC and SC are charged on the respective Consolidated Fund of India and the state. 146 and 229. Article 146 and 229. Security of the tenure. Judges remains until age 62 High Court, 65 Supreme Court, preventing arbitrary removals from procedure, that is 124 का clause 4 or 217 in the case of the High Court. Judicial independence, prerequisite for the rule of the law, protection of the right, fair trial, accountability or public faith. Rule of the ensure uniform application of the law. Ensure uniform application of the law. That is the case of Nanda Bharti case of the basic structure. Ensure uniform application of the law, protection of the right, safeguard fundamental right, have court case during the emergency, fair trials, enables unbiased justice. That's in Nirvaya case, upheld fair trial despite public pressure. Nirvaya case upheld fair trial despite public pressure. Accountability, hold power structure in check. Hold power structure in check, and JC case reinforce judicial autonomy. Hold power in structure in check, and JC case reinforce judicial autonomy. Public faith, strengthen democracy, trust, right to privacy, judgment aligned with the global standard. ठीक है. Step taken to ensure judicial accountability, that is the adoption of a charter, that is the restatement of the values of the judicial life by the Supreme Court in 1997. क्या करता है, एडप्टेशन ऑफ द चार्टर, रीस्टेटमेंट ऑफ द जुडिशियल लाइफ, रीस्टेटमेंट ऑफ द वैल्यूज ऑफ द जुडिशियल लाइफ by 1997 by Supreme Court in 1997, and the Bangalore Principles of the Judicial Conduct, Bangalore Principle of the Judicial Conduct in 2002. The Supreme Court SC approves live stream of the court proceedings. Draft Memorandum Process 2016 integrity and the merit as prime criteria. Include merit and the integrity as the prime criteria for the integrity and the merit. Permanent Secretariat in the Supreme Court for maintaining the records of the High Court judges, for maintaining the records of the Secretariat अपॉइंट किया जाता है. Supreme Court versus Subhash Chandra Agarwal case, that is CGI, is declared as the public authority under Article RTI Act, Right to Information Act. Other measures: media engagement, independent Lokpal and code of conduct for judiciary. Media engagement, Lokpal, independent Lokpal and code of the conduct for the judiciary. ठीक है, क्या करता है, इसे टेकन टू इंश्योर जुडिशियल अकाउंटेबिलिटी. सबसे पहले क्या करता है, adoption of a charter, restatement of the values of judicial life in 1997 by the Supreme Court, and the Bangalore Principle of the Judicial Conduct in 2002. Judicial independence applies to the constitutional provision including judicial independence. Article 124 governs Supreme Court judges' appointment based on the merit, ensuring independence. Article 214 and 215 establish high courts with independent judiciary functioning. Article 50 maintains judiciary executive separation upheld in the Krishnananda Bharati case. Article 121 and 211 prohibit legislative discussion on judges. Article 121 and 211 prohibits legislative discussion on judges' conduct, preserving autonomy. Article 121 or 211, ठीक है. 125 and 221 judges' salaries, term of services, etc. cannot be adversely changes after appointment. 225 and 211 and 121 JEE prohibit legislative discussion on the judges' conduct, preserving autonomy. 121 or 211. और दूसरा है 125 and 221. Judges' salary, term of service cannot be adversely changes after appointment. Article 32 and 226 grant judicial review power to the Supreme Court and the High Court. That is the JEE Act struck down 2015. Article 112, that is clause 3D, and Article 113 और फिर 202 3D और 203 3D और 203, और उसके बाद फिर 112 3D और 113. Expenditure and allowances of the Supreme Court judges and High Court are charged expenditure on the consolidated fund of the India and the respective state. Article 146 and 229. Article 146 and the 229. Hello. Article 146 and 229, that is the Chief Justice of India and the Chief Justice of the respective court have power to appoint officers of the court and largely control term of their service for the expense of the Supreme Court judges. That is 146 and 229, that is the Chief Justice of India and the Chief Justice of the respective court have power to appoint officers of the court and largely control terms of their services. Further expenses of the Supreme Court and the High Court are charged on the respected consolidated fund of India and the state. Are charged on the respected consolidated fund of India and the state. Secretary of the tenure. Judges serves until age of the 65 Supreme Court or 62 High Court judges, preventing arbitrary removal. Strong impeachment process here, that is Article 217 for the High Court and 124 clause 4 for the Supreme Court. Judiciary independence, a prerequisite for the democracy, rule of the law. Ensure uniform application of laws. Krishnananda Bharati case upheld the basic structure. Rule of the law. Ensure uniform application of law. Judicial independence and prerequisite for the democracy, rule of the law. Ensure uniform procedure of the law. Ensure uniform procedure of the law. Judicial independence, a prerequisite for the democracy. Rule of the law. Ensure uniform application of the law. That is the upheld the basic structure, protection of the right. Safeguard fundamental rights. Safeguard fundamental right. Habeas corpus case during fair trial. That is the unbiased decision. Nirvaya case faced case upheld fair trial despite public pressure. Accountability. Hold power structure in check. Hold power structure in check. That is NC case reinforce judicial autonomy. Strengthen judiciary trust. Democracy trust public faith. Right. Privacy judgment aligned with the global standards. ठीक है. Strengthen democracy's trust. Right to privacy judgments aligned with global standards. Right to privacy trust. Strengthen democracy. Right to privacy judgment aligned with the global standards. इतना तो हो गया है ना 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 ना. This has been done. This has been done. 65 हो गया. 59 देखो क्या है बच्चों. 59 BSD भी हो चुका है खत्म. और 91 94 देख लो. 91 94 that is the 91 94 NCSC है, NCST है और NCBC है. That will be done again. 102 consider NAC 333B और 333A performance of the Delimitation Commission. Can anyone define me Delimitation Commission and the current amendment bill which was about to pass but was rejected in April 2026, which bill it was, regarding the 33% reservation लोकसभा का सीट बढ़ाने के रिलेटेड. दैट इज 885 या कुछ के सीट बढ़ जाता. एंड लास्ट इज द what was the last one? And yeah, the Delimitation Commission. Tell me if anyone know about Delimitation Commission. The Delimitation Commission क्या है? In India is a statutory body responsible for CGI is a public authority according to the Right to Information Act. 1952 में 63, 73 और 2002 में। ठीक है, The Delimitation Commission in India is a statutory body responsible for determining the boundaries of the various constituencies in the country for the purpose of the elections. The Delimitation Commission in India is a statutory body responsible for the delimitation. The Delimitation Commission in India is a statutory body responsible for determining the boundaries of the various constituencies. Delimitation Commission is a statutory body for determining the boundaries of the constituencies in the country for the purpose of the elections. About delimitation, it is the process of redrawing boundaries and fixing the number of the seat. It is the purpose of redrawing the boundaries and it is the The Delimitation Commission in India is a statutory body responsible for determining the boundaries of the various constituencies in the country for the purpose of the election. About delimitation, it is the process of redrawing boundaries. It is the process of redrawing the boundaries and is the process of redrawing boundaries. ठीक है, boundaries बनाता है plus and fixing the number of the seats in the Lok Sabha and state assembly conducted by the independent delimitation conducted independently by the Delimitation Commission under Article 82 as per the law enacted by the Parliament. सबसे पहले कब बना था? 1952 में बना था फर्स्ट डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, सेकंड बना था 1963, फिर थर्ड बना था 1973, उसके 10 साल बाद एंड द फोर्थ बना था 2002, द फोर्थ डिलिमिटेशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अपॉइंटमेंट. द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन इन इंडिया इज अपॉइंटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट एंड वर्क इन कोलैबोरेशन विद द इलेक्शन कमीशन. द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन इन इंडिया इज अपॉइंटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट एंड वर्क इन collaboration with the Election Commission of India. Composition, it comprises a retired Supreme Court judges, the Chief Election Commission and the respective state election commissioner. ठीक है, कंपोजिशन एक रिटायर्ड सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस रहेगा, चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर रहेगा, ठीक है, और स्टेट इलेक्शन कमिश्नर रहेगा ऑफ एंड द रिस्पेक्टिव election commission. Authority क्या होता है? It is a high powered body with its order having the force of the law, and cannot be challenged in court. It is a high order powered body with its order having the power of law या force of law and cannot be challenged in court. Reporting, the commission orders are presented before the Lok Sabha and the state assembly, but modification are not permitted. Orders are permitted but no modification are not permitted. ठीक है, फंक्शंस ऑफ द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन में क्या है? सबसे पहले फंक्शन सबसे पहले है कि बाउंड्री डिटर्मिनेशन, सीट इलेक्शन ऑफ द SCs and the STs, readjusting the representation of the territorial constituency, the representation of the territorial constituency, recommendations and the public participation and majority decisions. ठीक है, सबसे पहले क्या है? Function of the delimitation commission, boundary determination, determines the boundary and the number of the constituencies. Function of the delimitation commission, boundary determination, functions of the delimitation commission. Function of the Delimitation Commission. Boundary determination. Determine the boundary and the number of the constitution ensuring population equality among them. Seat allocation of the SCs and the STs. Decide on the allocation of the seat for the scheduled in area with the significant SC and SC population as per the Article 330 and 332. In the Article 330 or 332. 330 or Article 332. Okay? Readjusting the representation of the territorial constituency. Readjust the representation of the territorial constituency in the Lok Sabha, House of the and legislative based on the latest population census statistics, recommendation and the public participation. Public publicizes draft recommendation in the Gazette of India, State Gazette and the regional media. Recommendation and the public participation. Publicizes draft recommendation in the Gazette of India, State Gazette and regional media. Conducts public hearing to consider public opinions, incorporating modification as necessary. Majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in case of dissent among commission members. Majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in case of dissent among commission members. Majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in case of dissent among commission members. Majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in the case of the dissent among commission members. Majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in case of the dissent among commission members. Judicial review limitation. Delimitation क्या होता है? The Delimitation Commission in India is the statutory body responsible for determining the boundaries of the various constituencies in the country for the purpose of the elections. It is the process of redrawing the boundaries or fixing the number of the seats in the Lok Sabha and national assemblies conducted by an independent Delimitation Commission under Article 82 as per the law enacted by the Parliament 1952 में, 1963, 1973 और 2002 में. सबसे पहले हुआ था 1952 में. Appointment. The Delimitation Commission in India is appointed by the President of India and works in collaboration with the Election Commission of India. Composition. It comprises a retired Supreme Court judges, the Chief Election Commission and the respective state election commissioners. Authority. It is a high-powered body with its orders having the force of a law and cannot be challenged in any court. Reporting. The Commission's orders are presented before the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly, but modification in the are not permitted. Function of the Delimitation Commission. Boundary determination. That is, that determines the boundaries and the number of the constituency. Determine the boundary and the number of the constituency, ensuring political equality among them. function and the delimitation commission. The boundary determination determine the boundary and the number of the constituencies. Function of the delimitation commission. Boundary determination, that is determine the boundaries and the number of the constituencies, ensuring population equality among them. ठीक है. Function of the delimitation commission, that is boundary determination, determine the boundaries and the number of the constitution, ensuring population equality between them, among them. Seat allocation of the SCs and the ST decide on the allocation of the seat for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes in the areas with the significant scheduled caste and scheduled tribe population under the Article 330 and the 332. ठीक है. Readjusting the representation of the territorial constituencies. Readjusting the representation of the territorial constituency. Readjust the representation of the territorial constituency in the Lok Sabha, it is the House of the People, and this is based on the latest population. Readjust the representation of the territorial constituency. ठीक है. Boundary क्या होगा था, determine the boundary and the number of the constituency, ensuring population equality. Recommendation and the public participation. Publishes draft recommendation in the Gazette of India. Publishes draft recommendations in the Gazette of India, State Gazette, and the regional media. Conduct public hearings to consider public opinions. Conduct public hearings to consider recommendation and the public participation. Publishes draft recommendation in the Gazette of India, State Gazette, and regional media. Conducts public hearings to देखो recommendation and the public participation में क्या होता है. Publishes draft recommendation in the Gazette of India, State Gazette, and the regional media. ठीक है. फिर क्या करता है, conduct public hearings to consider public opinion, incorporating modification and necessary majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in case of the dissent among commission members. The majority decision. Adopt the majority decision in the case of the dissent among the commission members. ठीक है. रिव्यू ऑफ द डिलिमिटेशंस, ये तो बहुत जरूरी है. फिर 84th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डिलिमिटेशन को सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है, इससे तो क्वेश्चन एक भी नहीं आया यार, बट आएगा इस बार तो आएगा. ठीक है. SC in the किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ केस. SC in the किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ केस, गुजरात हाई कोर्ट अर्लियर इंस्टेंस. SC in the मेघराज कोठारी केस. SC in the किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ केस. SC in the मेघराज कोठारी केस और द गुजरात हाई कोर्ट अर्ली इंस्टेंस एंड DMK वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु. DMK and the state of the Tamil Nadu. State of the Tamil Nadu. 84th Constitutional Amendment है 2002. Delimitation phrase 2026 तक हो गया था. ठीक है. ये कर लो. The delimitation phrase. The 84th Amendment provides the delimitation of the Lok Sabha national seat until the first session after the 2026. Objective and the reasons for political population stabilization. Keeping in view the progress of the family planning programs in different parts of the country, the government, as a part of the national population policy strategy, decided to extend the freeze on the undertaking phase delimitation up to the year 2000 as a motivation measure to enable the state government to pursue the agenda for population stabilization. ठीक है. तो ये क्यों हुआ था, कीपिंग ये हो गया. Keeping in view the progress of the family planning programs in different parts of the country, the government as a part of the national population policy strategy ऐसा किया. ठीक है. SC in the किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ case held that constitutional courts can review delimitation commission orders if they are manifestly arbitrary or violate constitutional value. That is, the constitutional courts मतलब कि delimitation commission को रिव्यू कर सकती है इफ़ दे वायलेट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैल्यूज एंड द मैनिफेस्टली आर्बिट्री. और अगर मैनिफेस्टली आर्बिट्री अगर उसको लगाया गया तो गुजरात हाई कोर्ट डियर dismiss a petition citing Article 329 which bars court from interfering in the electoral matters. Dismiss a petition. हाई कोर्ट गुजरात का हाई कोर्ट अर्ली क्या था, dismiss a petition under 329A which bars court from interfering in the electoral matters. As in the Maryland Kotari case, clarified that the judicial interference isn't completely barred. It can be allowed to prevent undue delays, not to hold the electoral process. Clarified that the judicial interference isn't completely barred. It can be allowed to prevent undue delay. It can be allowed to prevent undue delay, not to halt the electoral process. As in the Meghraj Kothari case, clarified that judicial interference isn't completely barred. It can be allowed to prevent undue delay, not to halt the electoral process. DMK versus the state of Tamil Nadu rejected a total bar on the judicial review. Court can intervene in the case of the modified or the arbitrary use of the power. ठीक है. इंटरनेशनल प्रैक्टिसेस में क्या हुआ है कि यूएस में क्या था, इन द कंडीशन लाइक द यूएस नंबर ऑफ द सीट इन द हाउस ऑफ द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव द इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ आवर लोकसभा हैज बीन कैप्ड एट 453 सिंस 1913. कैप्ड एट 453 एट कितना पे है कैप्ड 453 सिंस 1913. ठीक है. तेरह 453 नहीं 435 9 since 1913. The seat among the state are redistributed after every census, though the seats among the state are redistributed after every census through the method of equal proportion. This does not result in equal proportion in any segment gain or loss from any of the state. The European Union of Parliament, which consists of 720 members, इसमें है 435 और इसमें कितना है 720 है ना. The number of the seats is divided between 27 members. 720 है 720 तक 27 मेंबर के बीच में. Based on the principle of digressive proportionality, under this principle the ratio of the population to the number of seats are increased as the population increases. The ratio of the population to the number of the seats are increased as the population increases. Digressive proportionality जो इंडिया फॉलो करता है. Significance of the delimitation commission. Motu Vibro failed. ओके आई एम एक्टिंग और तुम क्या कर रहे हो, मेरे एक्टिंग को बैठ के जज कर रहे हो. यू आर वेस्टिंग योर टाइम. इफ़ आई एम वेस्टिंग माई टाइम, तुम मुझे देख के तो तुम खुद अपना टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो. और ये निगेटिव कमेंट करके यू आर शोइंग हाउ मच यू अंडरस्टैंड या कि राइट टू प्राइवेसी नहीं, राइट टू फ्रीडम क्या है. इफ़ यू डोंट नो, go get a life first. You are wasting your time, not mine. यहाँ जजमेंट देने
स्क्रीनशॉट ले लेते हैं.
हाँ
एक तो स्क्रीनशॉट मेरे लो हरी लो.
यू आर वेस्टिंग योर टाइम. तो मुझे बता रहे हो कि एक्टिंग कर रहे हो. मेरे एक्टिंग को बैठ के देख क्यों रहे हो भाई. गो एंड वॉच एनी मूवी या कोई भी गाना जिससे तुम्हारा मूड अपलिफ्ट हो जाए. कुछ भी मतलब. यू आर नाइदर माई मौसा नॉर माई फूफा नॉर माई मौसी टू टेल मी व्हाट आई एम डूइंग. मेरी फैमिली तो मुझे रोकती नहीं है, तुम कौन हो रोकने वाले. Where is my pen, man? Hello, Raja. What true? Please don't comment. Negative comment मत क्या करो यार. तुम बस इतना सोचो कि इतनी मतलब हम फालतू है कि 8-5 से लेके 6 घंटा बैठ के पढ़ रहे हैं और रीड मारने लगेंगे, वो भी ऐसा चीज़ जो कि दिमाग में जाए नहीं, वो भी पॉलिटी। इससे अच्छा तुम कोई भी नॉवेल निकाल के पढ़ सकते हैं। बंद कर देंगे इसको, क्या बोलते हैं इसको, स्पीकर को, तो बैठ के नॉवेल पढ़ेंगे, कोई भी एनीथिंग दैट विल बूस्ट माई मूड। कोई पागल नहीं है कि बैठ के पॉलिटी बैठ के निकाल के उसको रट रहे हैं, दिमाग में नहीं जा रहा है। एंड यू आर टेलिंग मी LLB कंप्लीट, अरे LLB कर ही नहीं रहे हैं तो प्लीज़ डोंट डू दिस, किसी के साथ भी मत करो। इफ यू कांट मोटिवेट एनीवन, डोंट ट्राई टू डीमोरलाइज दैम। शो करता है कि हाउ निगेटिव यू एंड योर थॉट्स आर, एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस। कल से ही कर रहा है वो, I was just neglecting him and he is like she will fail। अरे भाई ठीक है, it's none of your business। कितने करोड़ आदमी है, जाके तुम सबको बैठ के जान मारते रहोगे कि शी इज डूइंग और शी इज डूइंग रॉन्ग और शी इज डूइंग। कौन जज हो? जज की तो फटी पड़ी है यहाँ पे भाई साहब। नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर कमेंट किए ना तो देख लेना। मेरा तो कुछ हो ना हो, तुम्हारा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है। मोटो BD नथिंग, यू विल जस्ट फाइंड एनी चैनल और जाके वहाँ पे कमेंट करना है कुछ भी ऐसा नेगेटिव दैट विल बूस्ट योर। गो गेट अ लाइफ फर्स्ट, व्हाट आर यू डूइंग हियर? जाओ पढ़ो लिखो, नहीं पढ़ सकते जाओ घूमो, संडे है आज। ठीक है, ये हो गया। सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन क्या होता है? इक्विटेबल रिप्रेजेंटेशन मिलेगा, फेयर रीजनल बैलेंस मिलेगा, फेयर क्रिटिसिज्म ऑफ द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल बायस, आउटडेटेड सीट एलोकेशन, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सीट लिमिटेशन और द अनइक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन। ठीक है, तो जस्टिस रिव्यू कहाँ से कहाँ 4 है। ठीक है, SC इन द किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ केस, दैट इज द गुजरात SC अर्लियर स्टैंस, SC इन द मेघराज कोठारी केस एंड द DMK वर्सेज द तमिलनाडु स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु। ठीक है, 4 केस में पहला केस है कि किशोर चंद्र राठौड़ केस में क्या कहा गया था कि हेल्ड दैट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कोर्ट कैन रिव्यू डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन ऑर्डर if they are manifestly arbitrary or violating the constitution manifestly arbitrary if they are manifestly arbitrary or violate the constitutional values। ठीक है, गुजरात हाई कोर्ट अर्लियर स्टैंड dismissed the petition। मोटो भी भाई कहिए किसी को नेगेटिव एनर्जी स्प्रेड करने दो भाई, वो वही करेगा। यहाँ नहीं करेगा तो फिर किसी और को ढूंढेगा, जाके कमेंट करेगा और नेगेटिव। आई एम जस्ट देखिए तुम्हारा बात सुन रहे हैं, वी डोंट नो कोई भी किस कंडीशन से गुजर रहा है या क्या हो रहा है उसकी लाइफ में, फैमिली में क्या हो रहा है। बस ये फ़ोन निकाले और कुछ भी कमेंट कर दिए। मत करो भाई, अच्छा नहीं लगता है। राधे राधे। Gujarat High Court earlier stand that is dismissed a petition citing that is Article 329A, which bars quote from which bars quote from interfering in the electoral matter. Dismiss application citing that is Article 329A that which bars the quote from interfering in the electoral matter. फिर ऐसी इन द मेघराज घोटाले केस क्या है कि clarified that the judicial interference isn't completely barred, मतलब कि judicial interference completely barred नहीं होगा. It can be allowed to prevent, ये मतलब प्रिवेंट करेगा अनड्यू डिले मतलब करने के लिए, और नॉट टू हॉल्ट द इलेक्टोरल प्रोसेस. अगर इलेक्टोरल प्रोसेस कुछ भी कोई भी हुआ, ठीक है, तो उसमें कम्प्लीटली जुडिशियल इंटरफेरेंस बार नहीं होगा. बस वो कर सकता है कि इट कैन हेलो आई एम बैक, या आई नो. तो इसका मतलब कि इट कैन वो पूरी तरह से हॉल्ट नहीं करेगा. डेट इज़ मतलब क्या कर सकता है कि वो अनड्यू जो भी डिले होगा उसको मतलब कम कर सकता है. डेट इज़ प्रिवेंट अनड्यू डिले. DMK वर्सेस द स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु रिजेक्टेड टोटल बार. रिजेक्ट क्या रहेगा, अ टोटल बार ऑफ द जुडिशियल कोर्ट कैन इंटरवीन इन अ केस ऑफ द केस ऑफ आर्बिट्ररी और मेलाफाइड यूज ऑफ द पावर. ठीक है, मेलाफाइड और द आर्बिट्री यूज ऑफ द पावर. और इसमें क्या था, ऐसे इन द मेघराज कोटारी केस क्लैरिफाइड दैट द जुडिशियल इंटरफेरेंस इजंट कम्प्लीटली बार्ड. इट कैन बी अलाउड टू प्रिवेंट अनड्यू डिले, नॉट टू होल्ड द electoral process. It evolved Constitutional Amendment 2002, that is the delimitation freeze. The 84th Amendment for the delimitation of the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly seat until the first census after 2026, जिसमें कि for population stabilization, जिसमें कि keeping in view the progress of family planning programs in different part of the country, the government as part of the national planning, national population policy, national family planning and national population policy strategy decided to extend the freeze on the undertaking fresh delimitation up to the year 2026 as a motivational measures to enable the government to pursue the agenda of our population stabilization. ठीक है. International practices में in a federation like the US, the number of the seat in the House of the Representatives is equivalent to our Lok Sabha, that is the president of our Lok Sabha has been capped at 435. कितना 450 सॉरी 500 ही होगा. capped at 435 since 1913. The seat among the state are redistributed after every census through the method of equal proportion. Through the method of equal proportion, this does not result in any significant gain for any state or ठीक है. After every census the equivalent of the Lok Sabha, that is 500 में capped at 435 पे capped है. ठीक है. ND13 में ऐसा हुआ था. ठीक है. In the European Union में क्या पार्लियामेंट which consists of 720 members, the number of the seat is divided between the 27 member countries based on the 27 members country based on the principle of the digressive proportionality. उसमें है equal proportion, मतलब इसमें डिग्रेसिव प्रोपोर्शनलिटी. दैट इज अंडर दिस प्रिंसिपल द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ द population to the number of the seats shall increase. The ratio of the population to the number of the seats shall increase as the population increases. इंडिया में भी तो ऐसे ही होता है. सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है और द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन इक्विटेबल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, फेयर रीजनल बैलेंस और आइडेंटिफाइड रिजर्व सीट. आइडेंटिफाइड एलोकेट्स SC and ST रिजर्व्स कॉन्सिक्वेंस नागिना सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन उत्तर प्रदेश और बस्तर ST and Nagina SC Bastar ST in the Chhattisgarh and Nagina, so SC that is the scheduled caste, ठीक है, in Uttar Pradesh. Fair regional balance, prevent regional over representation, ensure a level political playing field. Fair regional balance, prevent regional over representation, ensure a level political playing ensures a level political playing field. Equitable representation ensures nearly equal population per constituency, aligning seats in the Bihar and the Kerala to represent similar numbers, upholding the principle of one vote, one value. Equitable representation ensure nearly equal population per constituency, aligning seats in the Bihar and Kerala to represent similar numbers. Criticism of the delimitation commission, पॉपुलेशन बाइस है, ये तो है ही. आउटडेटेड सीट एलोकेशन, आउटडेटेड सही है. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सीट लिमिट्स, एंड अनइक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन. फिक्स सीट एलोकेशंस एंड पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ लीड टू अनइक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन impacting the voice and the influence of growing populations. ठीक है. Constitution seat limit, because there are fewer seat available, that is 550 for the Lok Sabha and 250 for the Rajya Sabha. Few representatives can effectively represent larger population. Because there are fewer seats available, fewer representatives can effectively represent larger population. Outdated seat allocation delimitation done in 2008 में was based on the 2021-2001 census, but the total number of seats remained unchanged since 1971. Wow, leading to a disparity between the population growth and the representation. सही बात है. And the population control balance, that the state promoting family planning risk have their seat reduced. State promoting family planning risk have their seat reduced, while the state with the less emphasis on population control में gain more seats. जैसे कि एग्जाम्पल में बिहार में और उत्तर प्रदेश में ज़्यादा सीट है तो ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन में ज़्यादा सीट मिलेगा, और आंध्र प्रदेश को कम मिला है, इसलिए वो मतलब एक रूल लाए हैं. दैट इज़ क्या है कि अगर आपको 2 बच्चा है तो 25,000 देंगे, ऐसे कुछ. एंड लास्ट में है वे फॉरवर्ड अबाउट द 2026 डिलिमिटेशन वुमेन रिजर्वेशन एंड द सीट ऑगमेंटेशन प्लान. Significance of the delimitation commission, equitable representation. After taking CA monthly, how much money you expect? I'm not preparing for CA. Who said you that I am preparing for CA? CA means current affairs, national affairs. Significance of the delimitation commission, equitable representation ensures nearly equal population per constituency. Ensure nearly equal population per constituency, aligning seats in the Bihar and the Kerala to represent similar numbers, upholding the principle of one vote, one value. Fair regional balance prevents regional over representation. Ensure a level political playing field, identifying reserve seats, allocates SC and ST reserves constituencies, Nagina scheduled castes in Uttar Pradesh and the Bastar scheduled tribes in Chhattisgarh. Criticism of the delimitation commission, population control bias, that is the state promoting family planning risk have their seat reduced, while state with less emphasis on the population control may gain more seats. Outdated seat allocation, delimitation done in 2008 based on the 2001 census, and but the total number of seats remain unchanged since 1971 due to leading to a disparity between population growth and representation. Constitution seat limit, because there are fewer seats available, that is 550 for the Lok Sabha and 250 for the Rajya Sabha, fewer representatives can effectively represent larger population. Unequal representation, fixed seat allocations and population growth leads to unequal representation, impacting the voice and the influence of the growing populations. ठीक है. UPSC प्रिपेयर कर रही हो? No BPSC, I'm preparing from BPSC. Are you preparing for the CE exam? Unequal representation, fixed seat allocation and population growth lead to unequal representation. Fixed seat allocation and population growth, fixed seat allocation and population lead to unequal representation factor of voice and the influence of the growing population. The 2026 delimitations, women. The 2026 delimitation, women's representation and seat augmentation plan. The government plans to increase the Lok Sabha seat from the 453 to 816 by 2029 to fast track the 33% women reservation based on the 2011 census. The government plans to increase the Lok Sabha seat from 453 to 816 by 2029 to fast track the 33% women's representation based on the 2011 census. Pro rata increase on uniform expansion. Pro rata increase की strategy क्या है? Pro rata increase or the uniform expansion. Rather than redrawing boundaries based on new uneven population growth, seat will increase by 50% across all states. Relative stability, by keeping the state-wise ratio constant, by keeping the relative stability. मतलब कि क्या है? By keeping the state-wise ratio constant, UP moves from 80 to 120, Tamil Nadu from 39 to 59, 40 हो गया. The government aims to avoid punishing southern state for successful population control and stability. Quota capacity. This expansion creates the room needed to accommodate the 30% women quota and increase SC seat reservations. Concerns. क्या है कि core concern? Outdated data. Relying on the 2011 census ignores 15 years of rapid urbanization and migration. सही बात है. Fiscal inequality, that is, even with the proportion seats, the state fear losing their influence over national tax sharing and policy priorities. Fiscal inequality क्या है? Even with the proportional of seats, state fear losing their influence over the national tax sharing, finance commission and policy priorities. Parliamentary equality, an 800 plus member house may become coercive, making effective legislative depend more difficult proposed. ये प्रपोज हुआ है मतलब वे फॉरवर्ड 130th वाले से. ठीक है. मल्टी फैक्टर फॉर्मूला इंक्लूड TFR, that is the fertility rate, HDI and the tax contribution in the seat allocation formula rather than relying only on population, including total fertility rates, HDI and tax contribution in the seat allocation formula rather than relying only on the population. Strengthen federalism, giving the Rajya Sabha more power to act as a permanent safeguard for the state interest. Giving the Rajya Sabha more power to act as a permanent safeguard for the state interest. Transparency, include all regional parties and experts in the commission to prevent gerrymandering acquisitions. Gerrymandering, that is GERRY, mandering, MANDERY, acquisition. The 2026 delimitation, women reservation and the seat augmentation plan. The government plans to increase the Lok Sabha seat from 453, उसका कितना था? 543 है ना अभी, उसका कितना था? 435 था. ठीक है, यही था ना. ठीक है. 442,816 by 29 to fast track the 33% women reservation based on the 2011 census. Pro rata increase or the uniform expansion rather than redrawing boundaries based on the new uneven population growth. It will increase by 50 rather than redrawing boundaries based on the new uneven population growth. It will increase by 50% across all states. Relative stability, by keeping the state-wise ratio constant. UP moves from 80 to 120, Tamil Nadu from 39 to 59. The stability aims to avoid punishing southern states for successful population control. Quota capacity. This expansion create the room needed to accommodate the 33% women quota and increase SC reservation. Core concern outdated data that is relying on the 2011 census ignores 15 years of rapid urbanization and migration. Fiscal inequality. Even with the proportional seat, state fear losing their influence over national tax sharing, finance, commission, and the policy priorities. Parliamentary quality and 800 plus, that is 816 member house may become quadratic, making effectively legislative more difficult to propose. Way forward, multi-factor formulas. इसमें होना चाहिए कौन कौन सा TFR है, Human Development Index है, SDI, and the tax contribution in the seats allocation formula rather than only relying on the, ठीक है, rather than only relying on the population. Strengthen federalism. Give Rajya Sabha more power to act as a permanent safeguard for the state interest. Give the Rajya Sabha more powers to act as a permanent safeguard for state interest. Give the Rajya Sabha more power to act as a permanent safeguard to the state interest and transfer include all regional parties and experts in the commission to prevent the gerrymandering accusations. एक तो हो गया 94 बचा है बस, रात में कर लेंगे और क्या. This will be done go, this will be done, this will be done go, this will be done, हो जाएगा. ओ मेरे दिल के चैन मुझे तुमसे ये कहना. बायो फर्टिलाइजर से स्टार्ट करो, इधर करो, फिर इसको कर लेना. ये तो इम्पोर्टेंट, फिर प्लांट फिजियोलॉजी से पहले ये कर लेना, फिर करना प्लांट फिजियोलॉजी. ठीक है, फिर जिम जर्नी और इसमें कुछ भी कर लेना. 5 and 6.
और सब ठीक
आई एम नॉट प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द सी एग्ज़ाम, आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द बीपीएससी एग्ज़ाम। यहाँ पे जो सी लिखा है डेट इज़ द करंट अफेयर्स, जो कि नेशनल अफेयर्स पढ़ना है, करंट अफेयर्स।